Tuesday, August 31st. I'll accept a motion to approve the agenda. Motion by Mr.
I'll
Lawrence,
second.
second by Mr. Guines. Sounded like we won a jackpot or something there with that, but anyway, all in favor? It's a 5-0 vote for the clerk. Brings us to the mayor's report. Outstanding, no departmental reports, council reports.
None.
Mr. Guines, none. Mr. Lawrence, any? Okay. I'll get to mine last. Mr. Barrett? Nothing. Mr. Glavin?
None.
The only thing I have, Mr. Mayor, I missed it, and I don't know that we touched on it with the non-departmentals. There was a line item in there for $50,000 for East Biloxi.
Development situation.
Development. If you would, just kind
Yeah,
of
I'll
give us a
give you an update
blurb
on that.
on
I
that,
think
please, sir.
Felix, my esteemed councilman from Ward 1 will jump on. If I forget something, you let me know, but this is a contribution matched up with the Board of Supervisors, and it's going to combine, especially with COVID and some of the incentives that are out there grant-wise. You know, the first move is to engage and pull together all these studies that have been done over since 2018, and then go forward to seek, some development and opportunities. We talked about grocery stores and Carver Street and neighborhood. It's to develop another plan or consolidate the plans into, the 2021 opportunity. Again, it's a 50-50 match with the Harrison County Board of Supervisors, and I believe they've okayed that already, Felix?
Yes, they have, and just to piggyback, and the mayor's correct, there have been quite a few comprehensive plans put together. As you know, Susan Pickage, different agencies have done comprehensive plans, and we want to merge them all together to make one strong plan, and especially as far as East Biloxi or the East Biloxi side, which would benefit Ward 1 and Ward 2, the grocery stores, and basically restore the community kind of like what it once was.
Yeah, let me jump to, and there's an opportunity zone. It's been designated as opportunity zone, and so there's going to be a number of opportunities. Hopefully, will pop up in this will the amount of money we're putting in is an investment towards what we hopefully will get out of it in rebuilding that part of our peninsula.
And as you know, that there is a $1.9 billion coming into the state, and it gives us an opportunity to seek funding. And of course, here in East Biloxi, we have a lot of opportunities with this money that we set aside, and we have a person already ready to go get it and go after it.
It's almost like a lobbyist, but this is what real work products as far as grant applications in collaboration with other COVID pointed. I mean, it's a 2021 plan, and again, it won't be. I think the cost of we'll pay our half, and they'll pay their half, and the work products on a monthly basis is what we're thinking.
Yes, and the Board of Supervisors have been very, very receptive to this, because it not only does it benefit East Biloxi, we're talking about areas like possibly Wood Market that's also growing, D'Iberville, different areas like that. So the Board of Supervisors seeing it as a great opportunity, not only just for us, but her district in particular, and we're speaking of Beverly Martin.
Let me say, if it's going to take an effort to go after some of the money. If we do not take an effort, we don't know what we're risking 50 to gain much more than that.
Right. And
Right. And when we say East Biloxi, what does that comprise roughly? What are we looking at? I mean, anything east of Porter or north or south of the tracks? Or?
What the opportunity zones, as well as some of the other studies that we talked about going after.
And we're not just talking about south of the tracks. We're not just talking about north of the tracks. Because the Board of Supervisors, we have to kind of expand it. So it covers a lot of Biloxi, more so than just East Biloxi in itself. It would be kind of selfish if it's just East Biloxi or in particular Ward 2, but we're talking about the whole area. And because we are one of the main hubs, especially with the revenue that East Biloxi produce with just the casinos by itself, it's time for us. We have a great opportunity to start recouping some of the things that we've given out. Because if you think about it from a casino standpoint, most of your revenue comes from the East Biloxi where all the casinos at.
Well, and let's not forget mom and pop
No, it's-
operations as
absolutely.
well, I'm thinking.
And
really.
that's the goal right there, exactly what
Yeah,
you
I
said.
know Mr. Lawrence, I think had a
I got a
question.
couple of questions. First of all, the 50,000, how much money are we putting up of the 50,000?
It's already in the non-departments, 50,000, what we plan on spending this FY year to match up with the county, another 50,000 to engage, I forget what the name of the consulting company is, to go after these, grants and other opportunities, as we did before in some of these, 2018 study, I believe was what we're talking about
Absolutely.
So
updated.
you hiring somebody to do this for us?
Right, like a lobbying, that's right. Except that
Yes.
they're going to be very specific work products and to go after this grant or that grant based on that 1.8 billion that's coming our way.
Amen.
This particular consulting operation is in Jackson, where they, well, she's.
Right, and right now, we're looking at, at minimum, we could receive up to $20 million at this point. If we don't ask for it, we're not gonna get any of it. So with this 1.9 billion dollars coming down, we need to be on the front seat and on the front row and be the first one raising our hands.
It's a resource that we need to engage, because we don't have it in-house, and nobody's going to be looking out for us except us.
Absolutely.
Well, look,
And-
does Keith Hurd have nothing to do with
No,
this?
no.
Why is that?
Because he's got a lot of other stuff to Keith, there's a number of bridges and other
In
opportunities.
Jackson, I mean, he's in Jackson.
Yeah, I know, but
Yeah.
he's more in DC, and you've seen, I think we've seen the results. No, this is completely separate and apart. It's specifically on COVID, on the COVID opportunities in that new 1.8 billion that's coming our way.
Yeah,
Coming to
and right now, there are
It's
people
coming to the
right
state, it's coming to Harrison County.
No, coming to us.
coming to us.
To us.
And right
You know,
now.
we got 11, yeah, excuse me.
Go ahead.
We've received 11 million, 5.5 at each, a year ago, and we'll, this next year. This is a completely separate, buckets that it's coming out of, but it's specifically COVID, related to new things that we don't even really have a handle on how we can go after. But, we've been talking a little bit about this specifically, not water and sewer, but it's still part of that 20 million that's coming our way.
But I guess my question is, I know you spent another $100,000. How many of these things we've done and recruited nothing? I tell him.
Well, we spent,
Wait a minute. I mean, I listen to you. This is part of Ward 1, believe it or not, which creates a lot of money in the city of Biloxi. It had nothing to do with anything. So we spending $100,000 to go out to $1 million?
no, 20
$1.8
million,
million or whatever.
20 million, 1.8 billion.
Billion. And that's coming from.
That's 1.8 now with 9 zeros behind
And
it.
that's coming, that's the 1.8 coming from the federal government?
Yeah,
So that's gonna go to the state?
some of it.
And how do we get it from the state?
Some of it, as we did in the first go-around, based on population of over 50,000, that's how we got our first 11. This is a separate set of buckets. We got to provide plans, and we provide, and that's all part of it too, to provide shovel-ready like water and sewer. We're thinking we'll get another 11.5 million for water sewer projects out of that 1.9 billion dollars.
And to answer your question, this is how we get it.
Is what?
This is how we get it.
You
You asked how
develop
do we
the
get it?
applications, and they're trying
And this is how we get it. We have to have someone
pitching.
pitching for us, someone writing the grants for us, and we need to justify what we're doing in order to get it. So in order to move this forward, we have to do it. As you know, they're starting session, next month in September? And we have nothing. We're one of the few cities that's not asking for anything. Then we'll go into January. If we don't do something, then we're not gonna get anything. And so we have to create our opportunities in order to grow our city and in order to continue to invest and improve our city. And this is what we're trying to do, invest in our city.
I understand that, Felix, but I guess my question is, we have a grant writer. We have all the stuff we need,
We don't have
Well, we
we don't have a grant writer for this specific purpose.
and don't we have a grant writer? Can't she do this?
Not in this way. This is a very specific target that we're going after. We don't have a grant writer. We have grant writers in each department. They meet and figure out that we're not cross purposes, but This is a resource that we don't have, is what we're going after.
Who's going to tell these people to put together what we need for Ward 1 and 2 or 3, whatever we're going with? Who's going to tell them that? We got to tell them that anyway? So we hire somebody to tell them what to do?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not tell us what to do, what to go after. I don't have the
No.
talk, nobody in the city has the stuff defined. That's what we're trying to do, define where we have the grant and applications for those grant opportunities. We don't have that resource. That's what we're trying to do, is hire or buy that resource.
Well, I'd like to see one of these plans actually work.
Yeah, me too.
Because I'd like to see one of them work.
I think, Mayor, what would help, and especially with George, because it involves a lot of your community too, to invite him to our next meeting that we have, so that he can get a full understanding, and with Supervisor Beverly Martin.
Yeah.
The direction that we're going into.
Right.
Especially right, because if we don't do anything, we're going to stay the same, and nothing's going to happen.
For Felix, my thing is, there's a lot to do with Ward 1, but it has a lot to do with the city, just like all the rest of the wards. And y'all did this, nobody talked to us. I mean, I would just put it on that sheet. Nobody called me, said they were trying to look money for Ward 1, try to do business for Ward 1, and there. That's fine and dandy. And I'd like to see something actually work that we do.
Yeah.
That'd be amazing to me. Because we've tried it 6, 7 times, and every one of them failed.
That's right. And you got to stop, you can't stop
but now-
trying, and we're not stopping to try.
But now, I haven't tried anything. This is an opportunity. I mean, I hear you, but not in Ward 1 and 2.
No, it's pretty much the city. You know, we're all part of the city of Biloxi. That's the name of the game.
What we don't want to do is, we don't want to continue to do 5 or 6 studies and nothing happen. We spend a lot of money on studies, and we spent, as they say, a hell of a lot more on studies than what we're spending now to actually have someone go out and do something for us. Write the grants, ask for the money that's out there, and petition our legislators. Because as you know, we get hardly anything from our state legislators. Why? Because we don't ask. This is an opportunity now where we actually have the people in place to go ask. We have the tools set up in place for them to actually write these grants and to push this thing forward. Because right now, we understand where our community is right now. And like you said, we're talking about grocery store. We've been talking about that for a while, but now we have a chance to implement it. And this is an opportunity to start implementing some of the things that we talked about for years and years and years. We got one shot at this, because with the $1.9 billion that's coming down, we got one shot at it. And this could be our last chance to reignite and give a spark back to our community. And this is an opportunity that I'm willing to take, because we've been trying it for a long time, like you said. But have anybody actually done it? No. Well, now we have an opportunity to do it.
Well, I don't have a problem with taking the chance and taking the shot, whatever you want to call it, because something needs to be done. But my problem is, who are we going to go after to do this for us? You said some consultant firm. Who? Who knows what to deal with the city of Biloxi?
Well, we've got a proposal, I think, coming up.
Yeah, we got a proposal that's coming in, and like I said, I invite you.
Proposal come from where? From who?
Right. Stover Development. Stover Development is who we are looking to push this for. Well qualified, come highly recommended. And like I
Where's
said,
the information for us to look at, so to vote for this?
That'll be
The
coming when we
information, where's
present
the
the contract.
company?
We present the proposal.
Yeah.
They have a proposal for us and the county at the same time. And we'll have a workship if we need to.
we're going to have a workshop on it. I tell you
Right
what,
now, it's just in that budget.
yeah, just in the budget, but we're going to have a workshop on it. So I invite you to even meet before that.
I have no problem doing that. I meet with anybody. We meet all the time. That's not a problem. My goal is always to protect the city of Biloxi. That's the name of the game, to get something done for the city of
Amen.
Biloxi. So that's what we need to do. I had no problem going out to $1.9 million, whatever you want, $1 billion. Hey, that's fine. Getting the money is going to be tough. I don't care who you are. We're just in line with everybody else, but we have to be in line. That's the key. So,
And we got to get something done.
Thank you, Mr. Lawrence. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, Mr. Gaines, on this topic. One other thing is just, I had a couple of constituents in my neighborhood on curfews. Who calls a curfew? What exactly does a curfew mean? When somebody lifts a curfew, is it safe to go out? Who do we? So anyway, it's just, I'm just saying, if the city establishes a curfew or lifts a curfew, probably we need to explain exactly in Biloxi, for a Biloxi curfew, what it means, simply because I know the county rolled out first with a curfew, nobody can be on the streets, and they didn't lift it, but the city lifted it, so sometimes there's some confusion.
There was a good bit of confusion. I think it actually was lifted countywide all at the same time, but I don't know where that confusion came from. But what we'll do is I'll get with Peter and we'll put together something that explains it as the best we can.
Well, no,
depending on the situation.
Sure, and I just think if it's a Biloxi or it's issued by the city of Biloxi, and then when it's lifted, is it those kind of things, it would help folks in Biloxi, because they're hearing from different entities and don't know what to do.
I know
So,
the mayor and I both agree there was some confusion, but we'll put something together so it'll be less confusing and a standard we can go by.
okay, thank you, Chief, thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Chief.
All right, that concludes my comments. That brings us to citizens' comments. Anybody on my left, your right? Anybody on my right, your left? Okay, there being none, we'll move to the policy agenda. If the clerk would read item 4A, please. Excuse me.
Resolution setting the employee contribution for self-funded employee group health insurance.
So moved.
All right, there's a motion by Mr. Lawrence,
I'll second.
a second by Mr. Barrett. And as I understand this, what we're looking at doing right here is establishing the monthly contributions of the employees for our self-funded group health insurance with Maestro. Mr. Lawrence, comments? And
Yeah, I would say the easiest thing to do is just leave this the same. Don't change a thing. Just write it the way it is from there. Just saying the thing, $50, $100, $100, whatever you want to do, the 4 tiers. Don't change a thing. Everything stays exactly the same.
I agree.
wait a minute, ladies and gentlemen. Let's
having a
all
big
take a
one.
deep breath. Okay. Anything else, Mr. Lawrence? And then I'll move to Mr.
Yeah,
Barrett.
that pretty much sums it up, you know?
I agree with Mr. Lawrence, 50 employee, the other 3 tiers, all $100. Leave them like they are. If we want to do an incentive, and make it an incentive instead of us breaking even. But I'm against raising it a penny.
Mr. Guines, anything?
I echo these two gentlemen. Wow.
Gentlemen.
Mr. Glavin, thoughts?
I can support that. However, I still think we got a loose end with the existing employees. Mr. Barrett made in previous meetings made a valid point that they are used to that amount, and it kind of might disrupt things if we had to change it. So he did have a valid point. However, I do think that new employees that haven't had a chance to see what our program is, that we ought to have a plan for new employees after open enrollment, and we should consider a plan with a higher deductible and possibly a small increase in the premiums.
Right.
That would be my recommendation. The mayor suggested that. I thought it was a brilliant idea by the mayor, and it certainly makes sense as the 44 or 50,000 constituents that we represent, you know, are looking that we are fiduciously taking care of their taxpayers' money.
Right. Well, with talking with Si and examining numbers, basically, it costs us about $7 million to do this thing. Cities, as it sits right now, based on the counts, the 50 and 100, those premiums are about $597,000. So it's not going to be a whole lot of money. But I think the savings, as you said, if we, as I said, January 1, new employees, new schedule, hopeful that the 2,500 will eliminate about, you know, if you look at what we pay between 1,000 and 2,500, that's about, you know, we're shifting that employee, and the more the healthier they are, the less likely we are to overrun our plan. January 1, I think we've got enough time to talk about raises and talking about, you know, the long-term benefits for new employees. I think we turn over about 12% per year. So I think it gives us an opportunity to grow it in the right way. In 5 years from now, we're in a very stable situation and putting, some money away to address things we don't know about right now. But I think that's we're in sync with everybody here today. Leave it the same, January 1, new employees, new deal. Still 1,000 deductible. Si?
So, not to muddy the waters or anything, but I guess that's why I'm here. I do want to just point out that, remember, we broke it into 4 tiers, and we pay the reinsurance company a set premium based on what tier that person's in. So, for example, for a family tier, we pay the reinsurance company $143 a month to have reinsurance. If it was just employee spouse, it'd be $95. If it's employee child, it'd be $84. So what I'm saying is, by doing this, there's no incentive for somebody that's truly, an employee spouse to move from the family tier, or to get their spouse off when it's the same price to have them or not have them. But you, as a city, you're going to pay $50 more a month for that. So my suggestion would be, maybe you make the employee spouse $90.
Reduced a little bit. Yeah.
Reduce those 2 tiers, and that way you're getting $10 less in from the employee, but you're saving $50 in cost.
I'll make that motion.
Take benefit of the second and third tier.
So there's,
right?
Correct.
there's a move to amend it, our 4 tiers, and I need to know
Say the number.
which tier and what amount.
50,
Okay.
84,
I'm-
90.
I make the motion that we amend the resolution to set the premiums for existing existing employees during open enrollment, $50 for individual. It would be $100 for individual and spouse. It would be $90 for employee and child or children, and then it would be $100 for the family, employee and family.
Usually the employee spouse, employee child is a little bit different. Employee spouse, let's say $90, employee child, $85.
All right, let me restate that. Employee child, 85,
Employee child, 85.
okay, and then employee and spouse,
90.
90? Yes, sir. And family would be 100.
Yeah.
Individual would be 50.
Same thing.
All right, so I'll run over those again to be sure the clerk's on board with us here. For an employee, the contribution would be $50 a month. For an employee plus spouse, it would be $90 a month. For an employee plus children, it would be $85 a month. And for an employee and family, it would be $100 a month.
Correct.
Okay?
All right. Further, if we could include in the amendment that any new hires will come in at the higher deductible.
I think a separate, I didn't mean to jump in front of you.
Okay.
We talked about a separate plan that will be effective January 1, that we will craft.
Right, we're not
Don't
crafting,
need to do that, y'all
need to
bring,
do it right
y'all will
now.
bring that?
no,
Have to do
this
it
is
right.
just,
Do that later.
Just to
Okay. All right, strike that, and we'll just
right,
go with
just for those
numbers.
rates as amendment. So there's amendment offered by Mr. Glavin to modify the rates as they were just read. Is
I'll
there-
second that amendment, but I do have a question. Yeah.
All right, question, Mr. Barrett.
My only question is on that $85, when we do employee child, what if we have, and you said that's going to save us $50, it's $15 less, but it saves us $50. So that's a $35 net gain. What about multiple children being on that employee child?
Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter? Okay.
No.
It's the only question. I'm good then.
Yeah, whether it's one child or 5 children,
Plus one, plus
it's the same.
Okay.
Exactly.
All right.
Okay, so we've got an amendment. Any other questions or discussion on the amendment? The amendment is for the rates, $50 for the employee, $90 for employee plus spouse, $85 for employee plus children, and $100 for employee plus family. All right, this is the vote on the amendment. All in favor? That's a 5-0 vote. All right, is there any further discussion on the resolution that's presented now that it's been amended? I think that concludes our work
Now we vote on the
on
amendment
the resolution. Now we're voting on the resolution.
as
All
amended.
right, all in favor of the resolution as amended? All right, that was approved on a 5-0 vote. Thank you. All right, that brings us to the next resolution. If the clerk would read that, please.
Resolution authorizing MetLife Insurance to provide employees with dental insurance.
There's a motion by Mr. Lawrence.
I'll second.
There's a second by Mr. Gaines. Discussion, Mr. Lawrence.
This is Jill?
After this, I need to talk to you about a reminder.
This is what you wanted to add to the insurance, right? The
This is
dental,
for our group coverage.
right. So you can explain to them what we're doing, same thing we did last year, of not changing anything? Or-
The coverage is exactly the same as last year.
We're just
So it'll
changing.
be dental and vision?
Now, we're going to on dental, we would like to go to a 4-tier plan also. Wait, we're discussing life right now, are we not?
No, dental. I think dental.
No, dental.
Okay, so we would like to go to a 4-tier plan on dental also. So on dental, what we're suggesting is that we pay for all employees' dental coverage.
As you currently do.
Right, and anybody who wants to add their dependents will pay the difference, and I have it broken out.
Give me that one.
So use the same 4 tiers we just did, what would it be price-wise?
The employee would pay nothing,
Okay,
just like now. If they want employee and spouse, the employee would pay $24.19. Employee and children would be $34.22, and employee family would be $66.31.
Jill, let me ask, so right now, you have two options right now.
Right now, we pay 100% for employee,
And then-
and if you have
Anybody else?
anybody else, the employee pays $50.
Okay.
you think that should just be even amounts, like $24, $25 instead of change, or does that matter to y'all?
Well, it covers the per.
You said it was $24.19 or something like that.
It's the same,
How many people have family dental right now at this point? 100, 200, 300?
422.
Okay.
but a lot of employees would be not a majority. It's going to break out just like you did on your health insurance, where if you just have employee and spouse, instead of paying $50 a month, you're only going to pay $24.19 a month.
All right.
If you have employee and just children, instead of $50, you're only paying $34.22.
My
So
question
it's
wasn't the
cheaper.
prices, my question is, you want to make it $24 or $25 instead of 19 cents and 40-something cents, or whatever? That's all I was asking you. Would it be better for you to be even? Like $34 to $24, something like that?
I'd just leave it as it is,
Yes,
just,
because what it is this way, it's easier for us to capture what we pay for employee only,
Right now,
and then the difference goes to the employee.
pay 24
Okay.
of it, you and your
I mean, it's the same thing on vision, it's not a whole number, has change. So it would be the same thing on
This
dental.
here is strictly dental.
Yes,
So
sir.
you have
Strictly
one
dental.
tier is nothing, another 3 tiers are 24, 34, whatever you said the prices were.
Correct.
Okay. Up to y'all.
all right. Discussion, Mr. Gaines, anything?
Believe it or not, I got it.
Hello?
Barrett?
Hello?
So just to make sure I'm clear, currently, if it's just me, it's $24.59. If it's me and my wife, $48.78. If it's me and children, it's $58.81, and then $90.90 if it's me and my family. And we're proposing to move to $24.19 for, the employee would be free, $24.19 for employee spouse, $34.22 employee child, and $66.31 for a family. So that's actually a savings.
Correct.
But we get the credit or whatever. Is that the same thing as, so we're actually saving money on the, okay,
Yes.
okay. All right.
All right, any other discussion? Call for the question. All in favor of the resolution is presented. It's a 5-0 vote for the clerk, thank you.
We just saved employees money. That's good.
The clerk would read item C, please.
Resolution authorizing the group term life and accidental death and dismemberment insurance with MetLife.
So moved.
It's a motion by Mr. Lawrence. Is there a second?
Second.
There's a second by Mr. Glavin. Mr. Lawrence, comments?
You explain the next setup, what we're doing here?
So we are proposing that you move your group term life insurance that's paid for by the city to MetLife as well. They're offering a 3-year rate guarantee and $18,000 in savings versus where you currently are.
How much coverage?
The exact same plan, 1 times their salary.
Minimum of 25,000. Maximum 125.
Mr. Glavine, anything else? Question, I'm looking, the previous insurer was Lincoln Life Assurant, and I made a note on there that, was it a quoted rate at that time was 20 cents per $1,000, but the quoted rate for MetLife is $1.20. Is that a typo, or?
Where are,
Is that a
I was
mistake?
looking at I was looking in there in the resolution. If you read through the resolution,
Paula saw that yesterday, it's like 6 times the price, so is that a mistake? The dollar not supposed to be there? Is it still 20 cents?
and I'm just wondering if it's a typo or if it has any bearing at all.
$16 a month.
It says,
Or $1.50.
apparently it's right after the dependent life coverage of $5,000 per eligible dependent. Then a little farther down, it says a quoted rate of $1.20 3/10 per $1,000 for 1 times the employee's base salary. Dependent life coverage, $1.50 per family unit, or in my notes, but I got that from reading through the resolution.
are you in section 3?
I'm in my notes, I didn't, I'm sorry. Let's see, this is death and dismemberment.
Are we supposed to have the resolutions in front of us?
Sorry?
I thought we were supposed to have the resolutions in front of, y'all have the resolution? Kenny?
Rate from MetLife.
Got them on your,
No, it's not, no, it's not.
Open it.
Yeah.
I think your notes are wrong.
they might be, let me look and see. Okay, yep. Typo on my end.
Okay.
As Rosanna Dana would say, never mind, never mind.
Never mind.
All right, thank you, you're right.
What'd you say?
Never mind.
I said, never mind.
No, mine, okay.
Okay, I'm
I
sorry.
don't have anything to look at here.
Okay. So basically, it's the same coverage. We save a few bucks
Correct.
Yes.
as well. Okay, we're in a dollar saving mode today. It's a good thing. Any other questions, comments? All right, all in favor of the resolution as presented? Oh, yes.
We'll
Wait a
vote on
minute.
this one, then we'll go back. Go ahead.
Question? Kenny, you good? Mr. Guines? Okay, I was looking to see if anybody's got a last-minute question. We're good. All
Oh, I thought we were.
right, all in favor of the resolution presented on group term life and accidental death and dismemberment?
That's all, hey, that's your
What, now's the time to vote.
Well, yeah, everybody voted on that.
Thank you. Okay, we're
I have a question on the previous item.
okay, let me get this down just a moment. Okay, before we go to item D, Mr. Barrett, you had a question on item B, the dental insurance?
Going back to the dental, it says that our current employee family is 90/90, and it's not. We're paying $50 a month for a family currently.
That's, okay, that's what the current plan offered for renewal. But that's the total month charge that the city's charged. Okay, that's.
Charging 45 back.
Correct. What they, your current plan right now, what we're in today, is for single is $25.55, and for family coverage is $78.93. But the city contributes $50 towards that $78.93. So this, what the city is responsible for is $28.93.
You're talking about dental
Okay,
insurance?
so on dental, for a family right now, I just looked at a stub, we pay $50 a month. How much will be coming out of a check with what we just voted on?
It'll, for a family coverage, will be $66.31 a month.
Okay, so we just raised,
Just for family,
okay.
but not for, if you have an employee and spouse, instead of paying $50 a month, they're only going to pay $24.19 a month. If it's employee and children, instead of $50 a month, they're only going to pay $34.22 a month. It's only when they have a family unit.
So that's going to be an additional $16 a month, correct?
Correct. But it
Okay.
encourages
The dental.
employees who have, their wife already has dental insurance at her job. So then they would go down to, employee and children.
Okay, we're ready to move on to item number D. If the clerk would read the resolution, please.
Resolution authorizing MetLife Insurance to provide employees with vision insurance.
So moved.
There's a motion by Mr. Lawrence.
I wouldn't have voted on that.
I'll make that second. Mr. Lawrence, any comments?
You gonna break that down for us?
Yes, so the vision, again, we're proposing to move to MetLife with the exact same plan. It's actually the exact same vision network through VSP, just a different carrier offering it. And the rates went down 5%, and they are going to lock them in for 3 years. So we get a 3-year rate guarantee at a savings. This is totally paid for by the employees. This is not paid for by the city in any way. So this is totally voluntary, and we're saving, like I said, 5% for the exact same plan, exact same network.
Okay, I have no questions. I have no comments about that. Mr. Gaines, anything? Mr. Glavin? Mr. Barrett? Okay, all in favor of the motion as presented? That's a 5-0 vote for the clerk. All right, I don't think there's anything else. Is there anything else?
On what? Bring anything up?
Well, we're fixing to adjourn here.
Well,
Mr. Lawrence?
this is the only meet we have. We finished. I'd like to ask a few questions.
Sure, go ahead.
I know we hadn't went back to a lot of the different things, and we brought this up at the last meeting about O'Reilly Park to put in 25,000 for the, does not do with the insurance. And we never had an opportunity to put that money back into the budget to repair all the equipment on O'Reilly Park. I talked to them, Sherry, about it, and Phyllis brought it up, but we never did put the money officially into the budget to repair all the, what do you call it, exercise equipment. It's all rotten, fall apart. It's O'Reilly Park there behind the old church, and all the equipment's in bad shape. We talked about it, but we never officially put any money back into the budget to do that. So are we gonna have opportunities to do that again?
Let me answer that. What I know about, I think Sherry and I think Diana had some free playground equipment that they're exploring. I don't know the very specifics of, exactly what has been in the budget, but it certainly, we'll revisit and make sure that equipment is replaced and up to speed with all our other, facilities. I can't answer that question right now.
This equipment here that
I understand exactly what the problem is.
exercise stuff, they did certain things on, and that stuff is falling apart, not playground equipment. So they just we get the possibility for us to be able to put that back. So I don't know if we have to put that into the budget, or we'll take care of it anyway. I just want to make sure we took care of that in the business and parks and another one. So we're fixing up that new walkway. That's another one, has old playground equipment. And a lot of people still use that park. And now you're going to have that little walkway right in front of it, so you're going to probably have more business than ever before.
I'll double check. We'll get it in the budget. If we'll make note of it before, making sure that equipment's in the budget.
And this is another one I want to put officially into the meeting. I don't know if you talked to Chief Miller, but Public Safety Center flooded again, the second floor. So we have to fix that roof on that public safety building.
I can't argue with that.
You have to ask Chief Miller if he lost anything, equipment. But I mean, come up, Chief, and explain that to him what happened. I mean, he said it just poured down the walls and flooded the floors and the second floor. I mean, that's our building, and we just needed to do something.
Yeah, we're not sure exactly where the water comes from. There's some gaps in the third floor panels where windows
Should have been.
meant to be. It's panels there. There's some gaps there. I'm just not sure that's where it's coming in. We've had a couple of engineers
Yeah.
look at
Architects
it.
too, yeah.
And nobody can really tell us where it comes, but it really flooded this time. And I don't know where it's coming from. We're even going to stop and look at the drain system through the building to see if maybe somewhere it's coming
Backing
through
up.
the drain system and backing up.
Well, Popo, is that anything covered with insurance?
Could be, could be.
That's something I mean, because it's time for us, we're not quit living like that in this fine-looking building and it's leaking that bad, so that's just something we need to take care of and fix the roof, the third floor, the windows, whatever causing the problem, I'm not sure. But it's been an ongoing thing for several years now. And it's just time for us to finish that, take care of that problem. Another thing, I know they're getting ready to put the rock down on Oak Street. Did we do anything about widening Oak Street?
We looked at it. It maybe was a little bit too late as far as how much to push towards the right-of-way. It wasn't an easy way to do it at that point.
Yeah.
But, we've revisited that part of the project and as well as other streets. But, right now, like I said, it was a little bit too late, especially with the curve in there. I mean, it could be a major change order, and I don't know how much, it will be on us and how much would be, FEMA.
I just thought since it was in the middle of it being torn up.
No, it's a good point that you bring up right now. You go browse down there around Pine Street right now.
Yeah.
And, every time we raised First Street about 2.5 feet. And the big problem with the engineers and MEMA and FEMA was flooding St. Michael's playground and so.
Right.
But the big problem we have is east-west. We can't move east-west on First Street. We can't move east-west on Howard Avenue right now. It really could be raised about 5 feet, leveling, from Oak Street almost to the French Club. It needs to be raised.
Yeah.
It's going to cause flooding or diking or whatever you want to say on both sides. But we need an east-west way. If we were successful in extending an off-ramp off of the Biloxi Ocean Springs Bridge down Howard Avenue, again, that's part of the Gulf Regional Planning Commission study, to provide an east-west corridor, Howard Avenue, Irish Hill, Veterans, to Beauvoir Road. And so probably they could spend, $100-something million to do that. But that's a start, is to raise what we need on Howard Avenue from eastmost to Howard Avenue. That would provide what we don't have now. We had some issues, with flooding where it normally floods on Howard Avenue. And I think Porter Avenue was pretty busy this morning, wasn't it? Oh, yeah. And, but again, the sand is the cause of a lot of problems. Keep the sand on the beach is the main thing. But we do need to take a second look at widening, while we're tearing it up, St. Michael's project, what we can widen without, maybe it makes sense to do better right now than to have to, come back and ask and redo it again. Pine Street, Cedar Street, Howard Avenue specifically. We raise it a little bit without causing, problems with FEMA, but it could be raised another 3 or 4 feet.
Yeah. But I would just like Howard Avenue, you going to widen it?
No, well, it'd be widened a little bit. Howard Avenue, as far as the plans, from Holly Street all the way down there is going to be a little bit widened, and we asked a little bit about the relocation of the power poles too.
And you brought up Pine Street again. That was an old idea that didn't work then. What are you planning on doing with Pine Street?
Well, I'm not planning on doing anything with Pine Street. I just want it raised at Howard Avenue. Okay. If it's practical, and there are some plans again about Margaritaville, the original Fifth Street, not crossing the railroad tracks or with an additional crossing, but there is some opportunity money-wise to do some things, and that may be, the time may be now. We're looking at that, though.
And that's why I'd always looked at Oak Street, because that Pine Street deal, if you remember, before you got here, it was $22 million just to do Pine Street.
17.
Yeah, 22.
5 on the other side, 17 to do what we need to do across the railroad tracks, so.
We was putting
But we were supposed to come up with 17, and they were supposed to come up with 7. Yeah.
But anyway, that was just another, that was crazy to do that, one street over from Maple. That was a lot of money for nothing.
Yep.
That was just, anyway. And I was gonna ask you a question. I hate to bring this up there. You kind of happy today. That heavy sand, you think it would have made it through that hurricane?
Yeah,
I don't think so.
we're going to see.
It'd be on the beach like the rest of them.
Okay, while everybody's smiling, just a couple of reminders. Next Tuesday, September 7th at 5:15, we have a public hearing on the proposed budget for next fiscal year, followed at 6 o'clock by our regularly scheduled council meeting. So with that, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
The mode.
Motion by Mr. Lawrence, second by Mr. Barrett. Any discussion? All in favor? 5-0. Thank you. We're adjourned.
Wow.